welcome back to the channel. Happy New Year. It's 2024, the first bit of content on the channel in 2024, a day later than I wanted it to be. I was going to sit down yesterday and do one, but I didn't. I had a day of rest, enjoyed the darts from start to finish. Thought to myself, we'll just jump on tomorrow. We'll do a double upload, shall we? We'll do this, we'll do the match reaction, all in the midst of waiting for that imaginary Rangers penalty still to be given. When will it be given? I don't know. But we're here. It's the last game before the winter break. However, that means that January is, still far from over. There's a lot to do. A lot to do for Celtic in this month. We've got a January transfer window which has just opened up. We've got the game against St Mirren tonight where Celtic need to keep going with that fantastic result. Build from it after the weekend. I feel like I'm just all over the place. So excuse me, I feel like we've got so much to talk about and so much to catch up on. We've not even sat down and spoke about the aftermath and the meltdown of our win at the weekend. We've still got the January transfer window to go over. We've still got the St Mirren game to go over, which kicks off in 2 hours' time. It's nuts. There's a lot to talk about, and I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what to go over first. But hello to everybody who is joining me. Can I just make it very clear? Happy New Year to each and every single one of you. If you're watching this live or watching it back in video format, thank you for the support through the 2023. It was probably my best ever year of doing YouTube. The year where I went properly full time with it. Finished up uni, got my degree, and I've been doing this ever since. And I couldn't do that if it wasn't for you. So you guys helped make 2023 a great year for me. Behind the scenes, ups and downs in 2023, but on the channel, it's been a steady rise, and you guys are the guys to thank for that. So thank you to every single one of you, ladies and gents, and I wish you all the best, and just pure happiness for 2024, and hopefully Celtic will contribute to that. Hopefully they make 2024 a year to remember, a league title which is still very much in the balance, a Scottish Cup that we could potentially win, and hopefully some memories to look forward to in Europe. It's a bit early for that. Let's not spoil our year yet thinking about it. So hello, thank you to everybody as well saying Happy New Year, and hello to everybody who's in here all the time and all the rest of it. I would bring all yous up on screen. Happy New Haircut, thank you. Happy New Year, nice to see you, Cal. Thank you, Mackenzie. Thank you, Lubo. Hello, Colin Celt, nice to see you. Thank you, and Happy New Year to yourself as well. I appreciate that. I've just forgot how to say happy. I was going to do it in German, and I forgot how you say it in German now. It's one of the very few phrases that I can remember from studying German, and now it's gone. Shows you, I've not studied it in years, so it's all gone. All I can remember is Sprache Sie Deutsch. Right, let's get into things then. Let's talk about a very busy January for Celtic, and let's just start with tonight's game. We will do the normal Q&A segment of the show where we'll get 15 minutes or so of I want to bring up everybody. Nice to see you. Oh, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. I love it. I love the love. Spread it. Let's start with tonight's game, shall we? Because I think that's just the easiest place to start. I think that for as much as tonight's game is very important, it's probably the part that we can get over quite quickly here. The important thing is we need to follow up from what we done at the weekend. We could erase all of that hard work of beating Rangers on Saturday afternoon if we go to St Mirren tonight and we drop points. And St Mirren isn't a pleasant place to go. This is a place that, even the best of the best have struggled at. Ange Postecoglou didn't have the greatest time at St Mirren Park. Cast your mind back to that September of 2022 when we lost 2-0 there. It's a tricky place to go, and you could undo all of that hard work in the space of one game. It would have been nice if the Rangers game was the last game before the winter break and we could have went in high spirits and just left it there. But look, there's a chance to extend that even further. Let's not beat around the bush here. We can still go out there tonight, win that game, which we should be doing anyway. There's no excuses. We've got to win the game. That's the absolute bare minimum. But, you go out there and you extend that good mood and you go into January feeling even better because you've won, 4 games in the bounce it would be if we win tonight. So it is going to be tough. St Mirren they've kind of petered away a little bit as the seasons went on. They're not doing as well as what they were in the opening of the season, the opening kind of 10 games where they were flying high, they were third in the table. They're not quite up there where they were, but they still have been a very good team this season for their standards and for what you expect of a St Mirren side. Stephen Robinson has done a brilliant job with St Mirren. And hopefully we just build off what we've done at the weekend. A lot of impressive performances in recent games. Of course, we've got the returns of Rio Hatate and Leo Labada to talk about as well. So there's a lot of positives in there at the minute. You want to see guys like Mike Nawrocki get the chance to carry on what was a brilliant performance from him at the weekend. You want to see Paulo Bernardo build on what he's been doing. The talk is that, he's just been looked at a little closer now from all the supporters in terms of, like, people are considering, should we go out and get him in a permanent deal because he's been playing that well recently. Allow him to carry on that. My fear with Paulo Bernardo has always been that if, Rio Hatate comes back into the fold, he just suddenly goes to where he was before all of this. He goes to sitting on the bench and not really playing any football. But with the way that he's been playing in recent weeks, and after getting his goal at the weekend, you want to see him get a chance to build on that. You want to see Kyogo hopefully build on that fantastic goal that he scored at the weekend. There's a lot of players who you can pick out from that game on Saturday and take a lot of positives from, and hopefully they continue into the coming games and into the post-winter break section of the season. And I think, two of the standouts for me are Mike Nawrocki and Paulo Bernardo. Those are two of the guys that I really want to see get a lot more chances and hopefully build on that tonight. St Mirren is the kind of game where we need a Paulo Bernardo. I think that he's, so tidy in the midfield that in a tough game where St Mirren and Stephen Robinson play football that can be really hard to break down, Paulo Bernardo's the kind of guy that can take the ball in these pockets of space and maybe do something with it. And I think he's been very underrated at that in his time with the club. We haven't got to see a great deal of him domestically, but in these last few games, that's been a standout for me of watching him. So he could be important tonight in trying to influence the game against St Mirren, and I hope he gets that opportunity. Of course, we're still a good bit away from the team being announced. I'd imagine that will come in the next hour or so. I'll probably not be live until then. I've not even ate today. All I've had's a packet. I had a packet of cheese and onion squares. That's it. I've not had my breakfast, not had my lunch. I don't know what I'm doing. It's that time of year where your body's just trying to come together with all these different, it's just horrible. So I probably won't be on till the team's announced, but if I was to go out and do a team prediction right now, which we usually do in these match previews, I'd say Joe Hart of goals, of course, a back four of Johnston. You're probably looking at Scales and Nawrocki, which I'm excited to see, to be honest. I want to see Nawrocki build. Greg Taylor at left back, midfield three of McGregor, Bernardo and O'Reilly. And then the front three is where you can maybe have a little bit of a conversation. Does Liel Abada return into the fold? Does he come into the starting lineup, or do we just continue to nurse him back to full fitness? I think that's probably the smartest thing to do. We could put him out there and we could start the game with him. I think that he's 10 times the player that Dyson Maeda is in terms of his technical ability and what he could do to influence a game. I think that Abada is much better than Maeda, but would I risk throwing him out there at the start of the game? I don't know. So I think it will remain unchanged. I think that the only change to the starting 11 from Rangers will be Mike Nawrocki coming in for Stephen Welsh, because Welsh has obviously picked up that knock, which is a shame for Stephen Welsh. But I think that Nawrocki might be the only change. I think that we'll leave Abada and Hatate both on the bench, and if they're needed in the game, they will. It worked in our favour, and I know the game sort of changed, especially when Rangers went down to 10 men, and then we used all of our subs, but it was good that we were in that position in the game, a position of strength at 2-0 up, to keep Hatate on the bench. We didn't need to rush him back, we didn't bring him on for the sake of it. We gave him that opportunity to take that 45 minutes of rest, which he could have played in the second half. I heard a lot of people saying, get Hatate on in the second half. But we didn't need to rush him back. We didn't have to throw him into what would have been a physical midfield. And he was allowed that extra 45 minutes of rest in that second half. So whether he comes back today or not, we'll wait and see. But if we're in a good position, and once again, a position of strength in the game, I really don't mind keeping him till after the winter break. As excited as I am to see him back, and as desperate as I am to see him back, you've got to prioritise sometimes the fitness and the kind of safety of the players over what you want to see. So we'll wait and see. Have Kelly scored yet? I don't know. There are, of course, 3 o'clock games. Of course, Rangers are playing in said 3 o'clock games. There are no goals so far. There's nothing yet. I'm sure the chat will let you know when there's goals anyway, but there's nothing so far. But our attentions are on tonight at 5 o'clock. 3 points for us is more important than anything else. Yeah, it would be great to see Rangers dropping points, but I couldn't give a toss, to be quite honest, as long as Celtic go out and get their 3 points tonight. That's the main thing. So the game tonight, important for Celtic. Let's build and let's go on with it. So that's my preview done for the St Mirren game tonight. Well, of course, we'll be back on the channel straight after the game. Well, not straight after the game, time I record it and upload it. We'll be back tonight to do the match reaction. Why don't we turn our attentions to January, shall we? Because the stories have already started to develop, and we have heard a few names being linked with us. So I'll turn to the comments section for a minute, because I'm already seeing some of the names. Actually, I'll come to the comment section in a moment, because one of the big stories that is continuing to develop is that one about Matthias Kvistgaarden apparently getting closer to a deal with Celtic, according to some outlets. Don't take this as fucking gospel, whatever you do. He's one of the names that's looking closer. Thiago Araujo is one of the names that's looking closer. I think these are two players that could very possibly be Celtic players in the next couple of weeks. And I think they're two of the most likely. Now, one of the stories that we need to get out of the way in rubbish was the one that kind of started popping up yesterday about Ola Solbakken, who was apparently being offered to Celtic, and Celtic were considering, which has been quickly mudded because he can't play for three clubs in the one season. Now, of course, he's already played for Roma, he was on loan to Olympiacos. You can't play for three clubs in UEFA competitions in one season. He's already played for two. He would essentially be joining us to then sit at Lennoxtown for 6 months. What would be the point in it? And I know a lot of people might go, he's a good player, we should just bring him in anyway. No, it would be pointless. It would be absolutely pointless. Just leave it. And I don't think there's a desperate need for Ola Solbakken either. His name popped up, and I was like, you know what? Fair enough. He done really well at Bodo Glimt, and I remember a lot of us wanted to go out and sign him at that time. But it's went to Roma. It's not really went his way. He's not done particularly well. We've got the likes of Abada coming back into the team now. Do we really need... Is he a priority? I'm not saying I would say no to him, but I just think that there's other players that are priorities at the minute, and he isn't one of them. A left-back is one of them. A striker is one of them. A goalkeeper is one of them. Potentially a centre-half is one of them. I don't think a winger at the minute is an absolute must-buy for Celtic. And that's why I wasn't bothered when I seen all the stuff break out about, you know, oh, he can't play for three clubs, it's off, he can't come to Celtic. I wasn't disheartened, I wasn't gutted. I was like, okay, fair, okay, I'm not too bothered. I just don't think it's a priority for Celtic at this moment in time. However, the other two, Thiago Araujo, I mean, this is it's a good point. Yeah, 100% better. It might be. He's far better than anything we have in the right wing. 100%. Watched him for several seasons. Powerful, can cross, and can beat a man. I like Abada, and who knows? Maybe he would be better than Abada. But my point is it's not a priority at the minute. I'd wait to the summer before we start thinking about wingers. But if you prepare, you prepare. A lot of people talking about spine of the team. A lot of comments in the same kind of boat. Goalkeepers, left backs, centre backs, defensive midfielders, strikers. Goalkeeper, left back, defensive midfielder, striker. I think those are the kind of areas that fans want to see focused on the most, rather than a right winger. So we have heard the talk about Matthias Kvistgaarden. We have heard the talk about Thiago Araujo. I think that Araujo is probably the one that's most likely to happen. The thing with Kvistgaarden is the reports are saying that numerous clubs want him. It looks as though he might have a choice in where he wants to go. It's not like Celtic are the only club that want Matthias Kvistgaarden. So at the end of the day, money talks. Will Celtic offer the most money? Will Celtic offer him the best opportunity? At the end of the day, we've got to remember the big news yesterday, or a couple of days ago. Kyogo ain't going to the Asian Cup. He ain't going. He's staying here. Which I'm gutted for Kyogo, but I'm delighted for us. That means he's still here through this kind of January, February period. That's great news for us. Not so much for Kyogo. Thoughts with him. So if Kvistgaarden is seriously offered a decent deal by Celtic, now he's looking at the prospect of, well, if I come in, am I going to be second fiddle to Kyogo? Am I going to be in the position that O is? And he probably doesn't want that for his own career. So I think that there's got to be a choice in the matter. There's a goal, by the way. Livingston are beating Hearts 1-0. I think that's one of those ones where that could happen, but there could be better options for him elsewhere. Thiago Araujo is the one that looks like a cert at this point, and I think that we should maybe be expecting him over the next week or two, or any left back. Mark saying, in order for me, a goalkeeper, left back, centre back, striker. Don't know why a winger is even being considered. Basically the thoughts that I'm putting out there. Has Mikey Johnson left yet? No. On the 2nd of January, he's not gone. No one has left the club yet. He's not gone quite yet. Lunin coming in with links to... Yeah, he's been linked for a long time. Once again, someone who's picking up links for a lot of clubs now. I think there's a lot of teams over Europe and in England that are looking at the prospect of bringing in Lunin, which I think severely brings down our chances of signing him. If I'm being quite honest, I wouldn't expect to see him come into Celtic. Here's one of the names that's came up. Ryan, what's your thoughts on McKenna? So that's another one that's grew in rumours over the past couple of days. It was one that I brought up on the channel last week, in fact. I said keep an eye out because that's going to develop. It has developed, it seems. Will it develop any further than just rumours? We'll need to wait and see. But I did say watch out because his name will pop up, and it has now. My thoughts on McKenna is that he's clearly a decent player. He's clearly someone who was good enough to be deemed captain of Nottingham Forest, a Premier League side. He helped them get promoted to the Premier League. He's obviously a much better and different player now to what he was when he was playing for Aberdeen. Because when he played for Aberdeen and he was linked with Celtic all those years ago, I wanted him nowhere near Celtic. I was never a fan. And I'm not the biggest fan of him now. But as an option, depending what the fee and such is, there's certainly... That Phillips has left the club, actually. Good point. But when it comes... Just to bring back up... where is the comment on... I've lost it now. I've lost it. I wanted to bring his name back on screen about McKenna. There it's there. We could do a hell of a lot worse than Scott McKenna. But I think that we could do a hell of a lot better than Scott McKenna as well. He wouldn't be my first choice. That's my general opinion on him. I wouldn't grumble. I wouldn't be upset. But I certainly would aim higher if we can. He's obviously been frozen out from the camp at Nottingham Forest at the minute. He's not training with them. He's been left in the dark, the club captain of all players. But he's someone who's definitely got better since the last time he was in Scotland. And I think he could do a job for Celtic. It's just a matter of what his position would be. I know he's a centre-back, don't give me that. But is he coming in to start for Celtic? Is he coming in to sit on the bench for Celtic? That one I don't really know, because when Vickers is back, right, would you drop Scales for McKenna? Would you drop Nawrowski for McKenna? What would his position be within the Celtic squad? It's another one where I think, even though I want a centre-back and it's one of the priorities for me, I think we need to clear out a few first. We have to leave it evident of who's going to be the starting partnership. Because if we bring one in and we're just back to this situation where it's like, is it Scales, is it McKenna? Like, CCV is always going to have his spot. But beside him, is it just going to change every week? It's a really weird one with the centre-halves. But we'll wait and see what happens with the McKenna stuff. I think that's one that might just quietly bobble along until Celtic feel like they need to pull the trigger and when they've cleared out some of the centre-halves they don't want. So that one might take some time. But we'll watch. The January window's always exciting, isn't it? Hate it. I hate it. It's just name after name getting thrown out there for the sake of it because they're not wanted at a club. Like, you can look at Scott McKenna in particular here and go, the reason he's probably been linked with Celtic is because he's not playing football at Nottingham Forest and he's been linked with Celtic in the past. There could be absolutely nothing in it, but he'll get linked, and that happens with so many players in a January transfer window. That's why I hate it. At least the summer is like, okay, that could be January. It's just every name under the fucking sun thrown at you. Right. Okay, let's do Q&A. I think I've kind of covered everything about January that I had to. Araujo, Kvistgaard are looking like the two names that could be coming in, especially Araujo. I don't think there's anything else in particular. I'm just going through my notes and my stories. Brendan Rodgers obviously has made some comments in regards to the January window. I think that his comments maybe backtrack some of the things we wanted to see. I think that people were hoping for 4 or 5 different signings in this window. I think Rodgers has kind of grounded us a little bit, and I think there was a quote in the media that said something along the lines of 1 or 2 players. Celtic need to get, and this is the thing, I've said this whole time, I've said this in the months leading up to this transfer window, that January was never going to be the fix that people want it to be. And listen, I think that talks about, and Rodgers said this himself, this was Rodgers' quotes, talks about our demise have been greatly exaggerated. They have been. They've been exaggerated through the roof. Yeah, we're in a bit of bother and we needed a bit of support and a bit of signing in January, right? But not to the point where it's like a complete rebuild. That's nonsense. More of the work will be done in the summer, as normal. Celtic need to get out of this system and this habit that we've got of signing players. We've done it for the last 3 years. We have signed players with no plan for them, no purpose for them, and without an idea of what we're going to do with them. And if we go into this January window not clear enough players, but then go out and sign 4 or 5 players, we'd end up just being in the same position. So there has to be work done both ways. 1 or 2 signings is what I always say. Don't get your hopes up about this 4 or 5, because I just don't see it happening in January. So, Rodgers has grounded us a little bit on that front, but as long as we sign a couple of real quality players who improve that starting 11, I'll end this January window happy. It'll be enough to strengthen our charge for that title, and then it'll be enough to take us into the summer window where we'll do more of our work. So don't panic if we don't get 4 or 5 different signings, is what I would say. But we'll wait and see. So yeah, in terms of transfer stories, pretty much that's about it, I think. So let's just get on to a Q&A, shall we? The goal was chopped off in the Livy game. I know I said a few minutes ago that it was 1-0 Livy. It's been chopped. So it's 0-0 in all the games as it currently stands. Let's go for a Q&A. I see tons of comments flying in. And I don't even know where to start. So you know what I always say, if you're desperate for me to answer something, just leave it there and keep putting it in if you want. If I don't get to it, I apologise. But we have over 400 live viewers at the moment, which is nuts for this time on a Tuesday afternoon. I know it's still the festive period, but it's nuts for this time on a Tuesday afternoon. So thank you for the support. Let's get into this. You mentioned the darts. Who's winning it all? Luke Littler. I'm telling you, he's winning it. He blows me away how good he is. He's unbelievably good. He's going to win it. I said MVG from the start, and then he was rotten the other night. Deserved to get the kick to it. Right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next podcast as well. I really am. Just nice to be happy and, all of that. What's happening with Lunin? I don't know. I don't know him myself. He looks as though he will be leaving Real Madrid. I would say the chances of him joining Celtic are incredibly thin. I don't see him joining Celtic. I think there's a number of clubs that are looking at the prospect of bringing in Lunin. And for a guy who's currently playing for Real Madrid, if there's a chance for him to go to a top 5 league, he's going to go to a top 5 league. But if it be England, Germany, Spain, he ain't joining Celtic from Real Madrid. If he can be a number 1 in a top 5 league. That's what I would say with that. I would say that there's no chance. But, let's see. Other comments, questions, let's go. Are we linked with a new goalkeeper? There's no concrete names. All we've heard and all there is to say is that goalkeepers are being looked at. There is a short list of goalkeepers at the club. Who will it be? I don't know. Honestly, prepare yourself, lads. I think Joe Hart's going to be your keeper till the end of the season. And you might hate that, but I think he will be. That's my opinion on it at the moment. But we'll wait and see. Marks, but yeah, so obviously Liverpool have recalled. Let me get the story up. Let me get the headline. No, this is, oh God, I've picked the right art. Oh no, it's a Telegraph. I thought this was the Rangers review. So Liverpool have recalled Owen Beck from Dundee. He's been brought back. In the midst of that, a lot of Celtic and Rangers fans have been saying that we should go for them. I think he's been brought back for a reason. Liverpool have a shortage at the minute of left backs. Andy Robertson is injured. Tsimikas is injured. This boy's probably going to end up playing some football for Liverpool in the next 6 months. I don't think that they want to loan him back out anywhere until they get an update on the returns of Andy Robertson and Kostas Tsimikas. So I don't think that's going to happen unless in the next 2 weeks players return from injury. They need the depth there. He's going to be on the bench. He'll be in squads for the Premier League over the next few months. But oh God, I'm getting a lot of questions now. I've had to scroll way down the chat. We should loan out at least 5 players to Scottish Premier League clubs for experience. Yeah, there's a lot of players that need to either leave or get loaned out, absolutely. I don't know where, but they need to go out. What about Ramsdale on loan with an option to buy? There's more chance of them signing me to play in goals, James. That ain't going to happen. They'd probably want about 80 million for him. He's English, isn't he? And he's an England number 1 candidate, so... Nat Phillips is back. Nat Phillips is away. He should be away. We've not heard definites, but he should be. The whole point was he was meant to return to Liverpool in the January window. So in the next few days we might get a statement or something on that. But he won't be playing for us next month. So they basically have recalled him, essentially. Let's see, what else can we get? Will we have friendlies during the break? There's no organised friendlies that I am aware of. They will probably have behind the scenes, closed door, bounce games somewhere. And you'll probably hear about that in a couple of weeks. If there's a game, say, on a random, I don't know, Saturday the 13th, I don't even know what day. I'm just throwing out numbers. There'll be some behind closed doors friendly or something. There usually is. But there's no, like, friendlies that you can attend or anything like that. Oh my God, I've just seen a comment that I'm not going to bring up on screen, but holy moly, Marquee Player Network, thanks for the info. Cheers, because I had to know that. Lager needs to go on loan to a Scottish club. Similar story to Scales, maybe on the cards. Yeah, I mean, it looks as though the club Brendan Rodgers just wants rid of him. I think he might end up just getting sold permanently should anyone come in for him. But I wouldn't be against loaning him out and getting him experience because he definitely has talent there. It's just one of those ones. Hi Ryan, thoughts on... Nearly done it. Cracking player, I've heard. Brilliant. Cracking player. You were close. I don't think I've ever actually. I've only failed for one of them ever, and it was like, oh, it was on one of my streams, and it was the chronic maths debater. His name was. I kept reading out his comments, going, "Question from the chronic maths debater." You nearly got me. You have to wake up pretty early to pull the wool over my eyes. God. Let's see, what else? That's a list, you know. I think there's more than that. Berna, Lagerbielke, Koba, Kwon, Telio and Yang all out the door, hopefully. I would add another couple onto that. I would still be keeping Mikey Johnson on that list. I would be throwing James McCarthy into that list. I would be throwing... who else? There's definitely a couple more that you could argue to put on there. But obviously it depends on what happens. Laughing at the Marquee Player Network. Brilliant comments, thank you. Happy New Year, Alan. Good to see you. I hope you have a cracker tonight watching the game. Enjoy your beers. Ryan, do you think Celtic missed Jota and do you think they've replaced him? I mean, Palmer's a cracking player. Is he quite the quality of Jota? That's left for debate. But listen, I'm over Jota by now. We're fucking months on, aren't we? I would love to bring in a player like Jota again if we ever got the opportunity, because he was the best player in the country, in my opinion. In terms of technical ability, he was just unbelievable. And it's hard to replace that. It's like trying to replace somebody like Kieran Tierney or Virgil van Dijk. You're not going to do it. There's a reason they're moving to clubs like Arsenal, Liverpool, and Southampton at the time, and obviously Saudi money coming in for. There's a reason they're away there. It's got to be solid. It's got to take years to replace these kind of players. But it's obviously very difficult. Let's see. Have we seen enough of Chilio to chuck him out? Yeah, he's another one that needs to go, probably. I mean, what's the point in keeping him? Clearly, the manager doesn't think there's anything there to actually use. Ayeti is not on the books, no. He's away. He went away permanently. He went to Turkey at the start of the season. We got about 400, 500 grand for him. No, he's away permanently. He's not in the books. There is a couple of loan players still in the books that are questionable. I think we're still waiting for confirmation about Ideguchi getting a permanent transfer to Japan. That's meant to be happening to the club that he was on loan to. But I don't think there's been official confirmation yet or an announcement that he's signed for them permanently. But I expect that to happen in the next couple of weeks, I think. Let's see, what else? Turnbull, do you think he'll be away? Yeah, this is a weird... David Turnbull's a weird one because his contract's up at the end of the season. If there was any possibility of getting any amount of money for him, I'd be getting rid of him. I don't think he wants to sign a new contract. If he does, then fair enough. Would I give him a new contract? I don't know. But if there was any amount of money on the table for him, I would let him go. Because why not? Even if it was something like 800 grand, right? 800 grand is better than nothing. And let's be real, between now and the end of the season, is David Turnbull going to be a player that changes our fortunes? Probably not. So I would take any amount of money if we could. It wouldn't be a lot of money though. It absolutely would not. So we'll see what happens in the next few weeks with that. Yes. Get him, recall him, get him back. Bring back my boy. Nah, I think that chapter of life is over. I don't think so. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, apparently there has been a deal agreed. There's just been not an official announcement yet or anything. We'd be lucky to make it. We're not going to make a profit in Turnbull. It ain't going. I mean, what did we pay for him? Like, what, 3 million? More lucky if we make three quid, honestly. No, there won't be a profit. Hart proved his worth in the Rangers game. His position won't win or lose the league. It's a left back and a top striker most wanted. I do agree with, look, listen, for as much stick and criticism that Joe Hart comes under, I think a lot of the times it gets exaggerated. And honestly, it doesn't help his sale because the mistakes he makes can be brutal. But some of the stuff that he does do, like the saves in the Rangers game and saves in other games, are big. And that's what I was saying earlier in the stream. I don't think his place is going to be lost in this side in the next 6 months. I think they'll end the season with Joe Hart. Because they're not just going to sign a keeper that for the sake of it. Because Hart's not that bad. You know what I mean? So, aye. We'll see what happens with Joe, I suppose. Here's a good question to kind of wrap up the stream or such, shall we? What have I got any main objectives for the channel this year, Ryan? Have I got any main objectives? Lie back and think about this for a minute. Honestly, I've not given it a lot of thought. But I do want to take, end this season. And then I want to take things to another level if I can. If there's any way that I can, I want to take the podcast. We want to do a live show for the podcast. We want to hire out a venue and do like a live podcast. That's one of the objectives. Get a live podcast with a crowd in, have a bit of a laugh, have a sing-along and stuff like that. do it for some charity. I want to get my second channel up and running, but I don't know what I want to do it on yet. I want to bring back streaming. I've been saying all these things for a while now, but you're just waiting for the perfect time to do it, sort of thing. I don't know. Ultimately, grow it, do more content, do better, and that would probably be it. I think that would be it for now, until I have a grand scheme of things what I want to do. I need to sit down and get my fucking plans out and all this shit. But we'll see. I just hope that 2024 is a good one for me and for all of you. So I'm going to wrap up this stream here because I'm starving. I need to go and eat before this game. And we'll be back in the channel tonight, of course, to do the post-match reaction. So make sure to check that out. We should be back all week with content as well. We should be back throughout the whole of January, even with the lack of football that will be getting played. There should be a hell of a lot to talk about. So, yeah, thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully it's a good result that we'll be talking about later on. And, right at the end, by the way, right at the end, thank you to the Senjokai Karate Academy. 9.99, thank you. I have a red belt in karate. There's a fun fact you probably didn't know. I'm a red belt. I know that's like the first fucking belt you get, but I've got a red belt. Thank you, everybody. I do appreciate you tuning in. So, take care, hail, hail, God bless, and I'll see you later on tonight. Bye-bye.